Hello, guys, and welcome back to Big Brother Day 32. And a lot has happened today. It's week 5 of nominations. There's been a rule break, and there's been a bit of a dance challenge that was alright. It was okay. But the nominations were very, very juicy, and we ended up with a record number of people up for eviction. So let's get straight on with the episode, and I think we'll start with the dance challenge. And I gotta say, it was very, very funny to see them all dressed up in ridiculous outfits. It was quite funny to see Jordan say that he looks like something his kids would dress as to rebel against him, which was very, very entertaining. But I gotta say, the whole challenge just fell a little bit flat for me because it felt like an afterthought and a sort of distraction from nominations rather than a sort of fully fledged challenge. It didn't really come into fruition, unfortunately, which was a real shame. I think that they're trying to do like a task a day, which is good and it's entertaining, but this was an episode about nominations, and I feel like it should have stuck with nominations. I don't know, there's less people in the house now, so I guess they really do have to like pad the time out a little bit more. But yeah, the dance challenge wasn't really my favourite, I gotta say. I mean, first up, was like a group of people dancing. I think it was Jordan. Oh, I've got it written down here. Olivia, Matty, Noki, and Jordan were dancing first. Um, and then they heard that they had to do nominations as well. And then Henry, Chanel, Tom, and Trish went up and did a little boogie. And then during nominations, Henry, Jenkin, Jordan, and Yinan had to dance outside, which was quite funny. And then finally, they all had to dance outside as like the final part of the challenge. There was a really weird moment where Jenkin, like they were dancing to Just Dance by Lady Gaga, which is a banging song. And Jenkin goes, "What song is this? Or who sings this?" And I was stood there like, what do you mean you don't know who sings this? What do you mean? Like, you don't even have to be a Lady Gaga fan to know that that's Just Dance by her. Like, come on. What? Oh my goodness. That was a tough moment to watch, I won't lie. As the challenge was won by the housemates, they were given a feast and some tequila, which I don't know how much tequila they were given, but they were given shots. So I don't know, it's enough to get a couple of them wellied, I guess. Next up, we have to talk about the rule break. And I gotta say, watching it in the actual episode play out live, I didn't really see how it was a rule break. It was a bit of a confusing conversation. But when Big Brother was reading the transcript out for everyone, it was a lot clearer what the rule break was. And it was more speculation, and basically Chanel was punished because she was making allusions as to who she would nominate, and Olivia was punished because she made a comment that basically said that it had helped inform her decisions, what Chanel had just said. So yeah, I do get how that did break the rules. I know I said in the previous episode that I wasn't really clear on it, but I do get it now. But my God, Chanel, oh bless her. Is she trying to be the villain? Is she trying? Because it's gotten to a point now where I don't believe that she's acting out of malice, but I think she just puts her foot in it over and over again. And you'd think that like she'd just have a little bit of compassion. And I don't know why she's suddenly taken up the "we hate Trish" mantle from like from Paul and Dylan, because like as far as they're all aware, Paul and Trish squashed the beef. They've squashed it. It's done. It's gone. So like, why are we keeping on bringing up this narrative that like, oh, I'm not gonna forgive. I'm gonna forgive, but I'm not gonna forget. It's just childish. It's pathetic. Like, she called him a bully, and she's acknowledged to his face that she shouldn't have said that. She should have said he was acting like a bully, which is fair enough, because that's what he was doing. But what I don't understand is why Chanel is so sort of it's just tough to watch at this point. Like, really tough to watch because Chanel, I've defended you multiple times by the fact that, like, people have said you're a snake. People have said you're a two-faced person. They've said that you go behind people's backs and bitch. And I have defended you, but now it's getting to the point where I'm believing them. And I'm believing it because I'm seeing it in front of my own eyes. This last week has really shown your true colours. Or maybe they're not your true colours. Maybe they're just forced out under sort of this oppressive environment. But it's not a good look. And it's really tough, but, like, you'll be leaving on Friday, and it sucks because you were really entertaining in the first, like, 3, I'd even say 4 weeks. But this 5th week, you've been tough to watch. You've been really, really tough to watch. And the fact that you were like, oh, I don't even know how that breaks rules. I was like, what do you mean? You just heard it explained why you broke the rules. What do you mean you don't know? And then when Trish was like, oh, so you were talking about me. You don't know that. What? It's very clearly about Trish, Yinan and Jordan. And I think that's why Trish was upset. And Trish had to walk out because she was like, if I get angry, I'm going to be labelled aggressive. I'm going to be labelled this. I'm going to be labelled that. So I'm going to have my moment out here away from them because then they can't use that as ammunition. And I thought, you know what? Good on you, Trish. Oh, I really do want Trish to win. Like, I started off wanting Jordan to win, and then I was like, oh, I think Yinan will win. But, like, I'm fully Team Trish now. But, like, oh, anyway. So, the punishments were Chanel had her immunity stripped away, which is fair. And Olivia was blocked from nomination. She wasn't allowed to nominate anybody. And she also had to write 600 times, I will not break the rules, like doing lines, whilst having shock pads on her where Big Brother would just every now and then just shock her. And yeah, there was a moment later on where Olivia was really upset that everyone sort of wasn't supporting her through the rule break as she had supported Yinan. And I do get that. I do feel bad for Olivia because I feel like Olivia got the brunt of the force here when she shouldn't necessarily have. Like, her rule break wasn't as severe as Chanel's, in my opinion, and I feel like she just being part of that conversation and engaging with it, Olivia was punished. But, like, it's tough, and I think the reason why no one's supporting her is because there is this divide now, and they've proven that they're chatting bollocks behind people's backs. So yeah, you can't be trusted. Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, it's tough. So it's time to get into nominations, and I gotta say, there were a few shocking nominations this week. There is now officially nobody on this series that has received 0 votes for nominations, which is wild. I really, really thought that Yinan would be able to survive all the evictions without getting a single nomination, but someone did her dirty in this episode. So we're going to start with Jenkin, and Jenkin actually voted for Trish because he feels like her opinion, like the opinion that he has of her, has changed, but he was upset that she didn't want to accept the olive branch, which I can sort of accept that as a nomination because he feels like he's tried to make amends and she's rejected those amends. So, like, I can understand it from his point of view, but, like, I think he's very naive as to why she didn't want to accept that olive branch and want to accept his apology because, like, once bitten is twice shy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't make the same mistake twice. You don't trust someone and then they break that trust or they hurt you and then you go back and trust them again. I feel like Trish is very sensible in that sort of sense. The second nomination was for Jordan, and that was purely because Jenkin felt like his conversations aren't really sort of in depth. They kind of are one note. They are sarcastic, blunt comments, and then that's where it kind of ends. And again, I can understand that because Jordan does feel like the kind of person that won't have a proper conversation with you if he doesn't want to. And I feel like that's his prerogative. And I also feel like Jenkin's nominations were fair in my mind. I don't think there was anything wrong with them because he had valid reasons. It wasn't just a character assassination. It was, you've done this, you've done that, I felt upset by this. And so, like, yeah, fair enough. Out of the foul four at the moment, I gotta say, Jenkin is the one that's annoying me the least. Then followed by Olivia, then Tom, and then Chanel. Oh, bless. Do you know what? I really liked Chanel like 2 weeks ago. And it sucks that I'm in the position of I want her out of the house immediately. Oh, it sucks. It really does. Up next was Trish, and she voted for Chanel. She feels like Chanel is very sort of one rule for my friends, one rule for everyone else, and sort of she feels like she can get away with things when actually she can't. And she also said a brilliant line, which was something along the lines of like, Chanel always says, I like to pick my battles, or I like to pick my battles. And then Trish was like, but she missed some words out. I like to pick my battles behind people's backs. And I was like, ooh, that's so true. Because she'll have a problem with you, but she won't come to your face and she won't tell you, but she'll chat bollocks behind your back. And so, like, I can understand that. So, yeah, that was a fair nomination. And as for her second nomination, it was Tom. And that was because he's still too easily led and he keeps making comments that she's aggressive, and she's not aggressive in the slightest. I don't think she's gotten angry once. In fact, well, that's a lie. She's gotten angry once, and that was when Dylan was coming at her with fire, so she fought fire back. Do you know what I mean? Like, apart from that, she hasn't been aggressive. I don't think I've noticed her raising her voice, but everyone's so quick to call her aggressive, and that's just wrong. Matty threw away his votes again, and it just, I voted for Olivia because she's loud, she's overbearing, and because he feels like she's been unfair towards Trish, which fair enough. But then he voted for Jordan. And I was like, what? What do you mean you're voting for Jordan? Oh, he ignored me for a couple of days. Boo-hoo, get over it. There are people in this house that are being genuinely nasty to your friend, and you chose Jordan. Ugh, whatever, Matty. Actually, whatever. Like, oh, are we 12? Are we 12? And are we in the playground and your friend is ignoring you? No. You're in a house. Go talk to him. Find out why he's not talking to you. You put up the boundaries. He's just trying to respect them. Tom voted for Trish because he feels like he walks on eggshells around her because he doesn't know whether something's going to upset her or not. And also, he feels like his opinion is invalid or sort of not worth anything because, like, Trish kind of shoots him down. He also voted for Noki because he feels like she's switched groups to sort of better her game. Which, okay, I will say this. It does feel very much like Noki was part of one group, and then that group fell out with her, so she found this new group. And it feels like, and I don't know, but I obviously, like, my memory of this series is a little bit sort of, I've watched it once, so I can't remember. But before Noki came over to this group, I don't really remember them hanging out that much. Like, maybe every now and again, but it didn't really feel like she had any close bonds with any of them until the Halloween incident. So, like, I can, from Tom's point of view, I can understand why he sees it that way, because, like, it does come across that way a little bit. But, like, I think Noki's just found her people and found the village that will support her in this house when her previous village cast her out because she didn't stop Trish from nominating Olivia, which was a dumb reason to cast someone out in the first place. So, yeah, it's a bit complicated, and I'll say a little bit more on that a little bit later. But yeah, Tom, not the one. Why are you continuing Paul's legacy of nominating, like, Trish and Noki? Ugh, yeah, whatever. Yinan voted for Chanel because she felt that although they were handcuffed, like, a couple of nights ago or like last week, she never felt like the door was ever open to a friendship. It felt like Chanel kind of closed it. And I think that's a fair comment. I don't think that you can get on with everyone, and I think Yinran's trying too hard to get on with everyone, which is working against her a little bit. She also voted for Noki, and I gotta say, the reason that she gave for nominating Noki was very valid, I thought. And it's something that I've noticed about Noki, is that, like, she lets other people fight her battles for her. And Yinran was saying that, like, whilst Trish was having this argument with Paul on Noki's behalf, Noki just walked away and let her have this. And now Trish has got all of this heat on her because she called out Paul's behaviour. She was the one that stood up for Noki, and Noki's not necessarily receiving any of the same sort of fire. So, like, I can understand why Yinran would sort of back her friend in that scenario, because it does feel like Noki kind of just let Trish fight the battle. I know she was upset, and I know she wanted to remove herself from the situation, but, like, she did still fight your battle for you. So, like, yeah, it's a complicated one. It definitely is a complicated one. Noki voted for Chanel because she feels dismissed and ignored by Chanel, and I feel like that's absolutely fair and valid. And also voted for Tom because she feels like he's the main perpetrator of perpetuating the narrative of them versus us. There are two groups in the house currently, and it's very, very clear there's a divide, but Noki's uncomfortable with the fact that they're constantly bringing it up. They're constantly like, them versus us, them versus us, them versus us. And again, I can understand that. It makes for uncomfortable living, if I'm being honest. So yeah, absolutely, that's a fair nomination. Chanel voted for Trish after the whole incident with Paul, which I think we were all expecting after the rule break. But she also voted for Yinran. And the reason she voted for Yinran was because after Jenkin had been put up for eviction, Yinran was in, like, fits of tears. And Chanel was like, just read the room, because, like, you're not up for eviction. You're not being punished here, but yet you're the one that's crying and hysterical on the floor. So, like, read the room. And this is something that Big Brother fans have been bringing up, and I've been sort of reading, and I've been going, maybe she's just like emotional, and maybe just things hit a little different for her. Maybe they're just a little bit more uncomfortable for her. I don't know. But she does tear up and cry a lot over, like, very small things. And I don't know whether that's, like, just me. I don't cry over, like, the little things in life. But, like, it does come across as a bit like, really? And I feel like, I think Jordan and Jordan and Trish had a conversation about this later on, and they were like, she does cry an awful lot, and, like, it does come across as a bit, like, not fake, but just like, did you need to cry there? Why were you crying? Do you know what I mean? Henry voted for Olivia because of she's continued the bedtime antics, as well as sort of he feels like she speaks at him and they have one-sided conversation. She's very, very quick to talk about herself, but not very quick to listen to others. He also voted for Noki for a very, very similar reason to Tom, in the fact that he doesn't necessarily trust the integration and feels like she might be using them to maybe get further in the game. Again, I don't think that is Noki's true intentions, but I can definitely see how people in the game would feel like that, because especially from Henry's point of view, Noki hasn't really spent a lot of time with them, and then everything kicks off and suddenly Noki's with them 24/7. So, like, I don't know. Is it that she's just found her village, or is there something more suspicious going on here? And last but not least, Jordan voted for Chanel because he feels like she's the voice in Jenkin's ear. Jenkin is the leader of that group, and Chanel's like the little voice in his ear. And also, he feels like he just can't trust her, which, fair enough. They've come a long way since first week lovers. Do you know what I mean? And the second vote was for Olivia because he just doesn't feel connected to her at all, which again is a very, very fair comment. And I think that, like, especially now, we're seeing like some people just aren't connected to each other, and that's absolutely fine. It's been 5 weeks. You can't expect everyone to connect to everyone. So with the nominations over, that ended with 5 people up for nomination. We had Yinan with 1 vote, we had Jordan and Tom on 2 votes, and then we had Trish, Olivia and Noki on 3 votes, and Chanel on 4 votes. So those 4 and Jenkin will be facing the public vote on Friday. And I gotta say, I'm very nervous. I hate that we're back in the position of having to save Noki and Trish from the public vote. I'd also like to add Olivia to that list because I genuinely don't think that Olivia is a bad person. She's just very easily influenced by the people that she's around. And we've seen that when she's had one-on-one chats with people, that she is genuinely a lovely person. But currently, she's had Paul controlling her moves. She's had the Foul Four, well, she's part of the Foul Four, but like that little group sort of dripping poison in her ear. And like, I think that she's struggling to make opinions of her own because the people that she trusted, Kerry and Hallie, have been kicked out of the house. Unfairly, I might add. But it just sucks to see. So like, I personally won't be voting for Olivia. I'll be splitting my votes between Chanel and Jenkin. And I would, like, the best case scenario out of this live eviction is that Chanel and Jenkin go. And it sucks so much because I wanted Tom to go, but he just wasn't put up for eviction because I feel like he's just flying under the radar and he's not doing anything that's outwardly bad to the like whole group. We're just seeing his bad moments, but like the group isn't. So like, it's just a tough one. But my favorite thing is that when it was announced that Trish was up for a nomination, she just stood up and went, well, we'll see what happens on Friday. It seems like I've got more haters in here than I do out there. And I just thought, that is some queen shit right there. That is some, that is poetic what you just said. What? I wouldn't have been able to think up that, but oh, beautiful moment. So that's all we got time for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode. No idea what's happening in tomorrow's episode apart from the fact that they're doing a little bit of a podcast challenge or something like that. And then there's the live eviction tomorrow as well. I'll be watching, but I won't be able to post the video, unfortunately, on Saturday. It will come out probably on Sunday around about 8-9 o'clock. Just because I'm away this weekend. But thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I hope you guys keep liking, commenting, subscribing, doing all that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well. And yeah, keep on ranting. Bye now.